Hi everybody, welcome to School Notices. Today I am honoured to be speaking to Tatton Spiller, who is the founder of Simple Politics, which was launched in 2015 across Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. They now have well over 1 million followers. When things are complex in politics, people turn to him and his team, as we all did during lockdown. Tatton is a regular on the media circuit, appearing on TV and radio, including BBC Two, Sky, and regular slots on BBC Radio London. With a background in classroom teaching, journalism, education at the Houses of Parliament, and event production, nobody writes about politics in the way he does. Tatton, thank you for speaking with us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me on.
I'll dive right in and ask you why you were interested in politics, and were you interested in it from a very young age?
I think there's this idea that you're either interested in politics or you're not, because people who aren't interested in politics will moan about their bins not being collected often enough or having too many bins to put out. It's like, well, that's an issue. That's politics. That's about your council and your votes and the way they spend their money and all of that stuff. Or you know, whatever else. There's so many, or it's all about issues. When I was the sixth form audience, hi, by the way, when I was your age, I was very into animal rights. I thought that the way animals were being treated, and this was the late 90s, and things have come on a long way since then. And it got me really, I spent a lot of time going on protests, and that was my passion. I mean, I don't think I would have said I was into politics. I certainly couldn't have told you anything about the Houses of Parliament and all that. But when there are issues, let's go back to the bins, you get deeper and deeper and deeper. It's a spider's web, because you start caring about the bins and you go, do you know what? I'm going to speak to the council. And the council like, right, okay, cool, but we haven't got the money. And then like, okay. But then the next day, let's say they sort the bins out, they do more bin collections, and the roads aren't, there's more potholes in the roads and you can't drive around. And it's like, oh, but that's the same thing, which you're going to prioritize. And that's when it gets interesting, because it's all the council's work. And hang on, what about social care? Like, my mum's not being looked after properly because there's money. And what's most important? And how do you can be into politics without thinking you're into politics. It's issue based, because the House of Commons and number 10 and all that stuff, this is no way the answer to your question, so I'm sorry. So yes, it turns out, looking back, I've always been into politics, but I think everyone is, because people care about their lives and their country, even if they wouldn't identify as being into politics.
Did any of that growing up affect how you made your school choices or which university you were going to go to?
Well, having just said, I wouldn't have said I was into politics. I did I did take politics A-level. I didn't. Well, we had a cheat A-level in the 90s. You were allowed to cheat, because there was a thing called politics and economics A-level.
Oh.
And by the time I was 16, by the time I was in year 11, I was a little bit irritated with school. School and me didn't suit very well. I had massive undiagnosed mental health issues. Things were going quite bad.
Okay.
And I didn't know what to do, and I didn't really want to take many of the subjects I was currently taking. So plumped for a new one, and that was politics and economics. And the reason it was a cheat is because it was, in fact, the first year of both the A-level course and the economics course. So it's two ASs spliced together to be one, which is far too easy, because the second year is when the action happens in your A-levels.
At the time, what sort of career did you have in mind? Was it just journalism or teaching? Was there anything, or was it just find something that actually holds your interest?
Just just what do you want to do? I think that, so careers, if you're choosing your A levels now, you will graduate from secondary school, what, in 2024, 2025, right? And you've got 50 years ahead of you of working. Your career is going to take you till 2075, maybe. You will work until you can get state retirement anyway.
Yeah.
2075. So I can't tell you what's going to hold my interest next week. You know, I go to the shop, and by the time it's dinner time, I don't want that for my supper. I want something else because I've changed my mind.
Yeah.
Right? Imagine trying to choose what risotto you're going to have in April 2034. Right? It's not like you can't do it. All you can do is go, what do I want? What am I interested in now? What are my building blocks going to be? What am I going to set up and do right now that I can throw myself into, get involved with, and then look around in the next step? Sure, some people watching this right now will have thought, do you know what? I just really want to be a lawyer. Something about the law really interests me. Protecting the innocent, justice for victims, getting out there, doing that. Now, if you want to be a lawyer, that's cool, man. It's going to take a lot of lawyer school, which is a technical term for lawyers, education, and then a lot of being a junior lawyer, and then so 10, 15, that's a serious path. And if that's where the prize your eyes are on, then yeah, that's got to shift some things. Same with medicine school and things like that. But that's kind of the same thing. That's what we want to do right now. Okay, you don't know what you're going to want to do in 20 years. You can't possibly know what you're going to want to do in 20 years. So right now, choose what you want, what you love, what you think you're going to do, and just throw yourself in.
How did you then get into teaching? How did that happen?
Well, it was teaching is such a great thing to do, and this sounds flippant, but I finished school with those 4 A levels, and then didn't know about university and applied to the wrong universities, and all the universities I applied to turned me down. And then I took a gap year, and again all the universities turned me down. So
that must have been disheartening.
It was disheartening. And again, you know, I was really struggling with my mental health at the time, and things. It was a difficult time. And my school wasn't very good at giving advice to say, listen, at this school that you're at, a lot of people applying to these big famous universities, but your life isn't going that well right now, and those A level results you've got, they ain't going to get you into those universities. So there am I happily applying to all these ones, and everyone's going, oh yeah, those are good universities, well done, Tan, you're very clever, well done. And actually it was a complete waste of everyone's time, because it was never going to be a thing. So yeah, it was disheartening, but I still wanted to go to university. Like many people watching, I'd always had it. It was never really a question. Like occasionally in my grumpier moments, I would say, well, maybe I won't go to university. Maybe I was working at Argos at the time. It wasn't something that I was particularly keen on making a career out of.
Yeah.
So I ended up going to Brunel University to do English, English and drama.
Oh.
And that was fun. That was good. But again, no career focus, no where am I going next. It was like, what am I going to do right now? And English and drama, communication, talking, words. That's my thing. And so that's what I did. And then towards the end of that, I was like, what am I going to do with this?
Yeah.
What do you do with an English and drama degree except teach or go into the theatre and whatever? And that always looked really attractive to me, but it was a bit quite a scary thing. So I very fortunately got into a very good teacher training school. I kind of fell into that, and it was really a falling in type thing, because I'd gone for what I now look back on as the building block approach. Just, what am I going to do right now? And then, oh, what am I going to do now? Teach. Okay, cool. Then that's the next building block, and you've got that, and you get in and you give it your best. And because it's a building block you've found rather than identified, it's an, gosh, it sounds awful. It's an organic way of doing it. It's interest first. It's passion, primarily passion, to go alliterative on you. Like, when you're there, it's much harder. I think braver people take the hit now. I'm going to have a really rough 3 years doing zoology, and it's not going to be particularly fun, but I'm going to get into it, and then I'm going to have the piece of paper that's going to allow me to do my dream job, right?
Yeah.
I've never done a grit your teeth, get through it stage of my career, because I've never wanted to. I was teaching English mostly. I started with a bit of drama, then it's mostly focused on English, and politics kept coming up again as well. But I was talking about writing a lot, and I was like, I want to write. I can do this. So again, just throw something in there. I mean, the highs of teaching. Sometimes you look around at the people you're working with, and at the young people you're working with, and you go, this is a team. I am here part of a group of people who are really doing something, who are really making a difference in people's lives. And I was in an amazing school at that point, in central London. Like, loads of people I knew then are now head teachers or executive head teachers, because it just happened to be a coming together in central London of lots of people. You know, I fell into it because I was at quite a good teacher training school. The school I ended up working for just dropped my course leader an email saying, is there anyone who you think would suit us, rather than advertising the job. They knew the kind of teacher they want. They knew that my school produced them, so they dropped them, and then I was like, yeah, go on then, and I could walk there from my house. Okay. So I did. I was like, yeah, cool, done. I'll teach you. Fine. So it just, I fell into a hotbed of intelligence and talent and creativity and some wonderful people. And that's, I mean, good work comes from good teams, good people. Great. But it was never my dream to be a teacher. And I wanted to do some writing. I wanted to do more writing and focus on what I could do, rather than showing, unlocking it for other people. And
was there like a moment where you decided, like, this is it, I want to just reach the masses? I want to have my say.
No, I've never been a reach the masses kind of guy. Just do good things, just do fun and interesting things, and be useful. Trying things out. No, reaching the masses is like when you go watch The Apprentice on TV, and their goal for their career, their whole goal is to make £1 million by the time I'm 21, and then 1 billion by the time I'm 30, right? That's their goal. It's money. It's the same with reaching the masses. Like, if your goal is to publish to loads of people, well, how are you going to get there? Is that going to be a fun thing? I mean, I think the best way to reach masses in journalism is to write about Harry and Meghan. Right? That's what people, or Love Island's chat. like Love Island chat does really well. So if my aim was to reach the masses, I would be a Love Island journalist, and I would hate every second of it. I went to Parliament, and that was a job that, again, I didn't know existed. Like, you'll be working. I mean, I'll still be working 2040, right?
What was your role at Parliament?
At Parliament, so that's the point. At Parliament, I was working out, designing workshops and sessions for young people who were visiting Parliament school trips from Key Stage 2 to Key Stage 5. Sessions for them to do. What should they learn? What do they need to know when they're here in Parliament? And the point was, I had my brief journalism experience and my teaching experience and my politics experience. All three came together. These three building blocks that I had seen as quite separate and disparate and just put myself into because they were what I wanted to do at the time, came together for the next building block, which was this Parliament gig. And that's what got me in. At the interview process, they had never had, no other candidate had all of these separate things to bring to it. Lots of people had done teaching staff or journalism or whatever, but because I had all those things, that got me in.
So there must have been some incredible moments along the way. What were some big ones? I want to say hitting, like 600,000 followers on Instagram is huge, but do you have any personal moments that were just sort of out of body experiences?
To pin down individual moments, right? Because, it's nice. I remember hitting 20,000 followers on Facebook in 2016. It's like, oh my goodness, 20,000 followers on Facebook. We're huge. Getting my book deal was a good moment. Seeing that in bookshops, that was nice.
Yeah.
Being invited, I'd had a regular slot, a weekly slot on the radio, and we'd just talk about COVID. That was good. Just sometimes like Joe Wicks dropping us a line to say how much he enjoyed what we do. That's nice. Especially because he was Mr. Pandemic. Everyone was doing Joe Wicks during the pandemic, and so for the idea that we were part of that pandemic thing. The pandemic changed SP, but timing, it was being so fortunate because we set up in 2015. It was deliberately just after 2015 general election, and David Cameron just won, big Conservative majority, and also to track his changes. But he then had put the Brexit referendum in place, and then after the Brexit referendum, there was Brexit chaos, and then Theresa May became Prime Minister. Theresa May became Prime Minister, and there was a general election, Corbyn, and more Brexit fallout, and Boris Johnson became Prime Minister, and another election, and Corbyn went, and there was Labour leadership, and 2015 to 2019, we put by the end of 2019, after the 2019 general election, we had 100,000 followers on Instagram. And I said to my colleague, I think we should wrap Simple Politics up because all of the chaos is finished now. All of the Brexit nonsense finished. Boris Johnson's got this big majority. It's going to be a bit more boring. Let's just leave it. I think we're done. But again, this is me walking away. This is what I do. I walk away. And she was like, well, maybe let's leave it for a bit. Because she knows me. She's like, okay, Tatton, yeah, we'll stop this, shall we? And then COVID hit. And all of those 4 years of growth had put us in a position where we could help people the way we did over COVID. And with all the same skills, if I'd set up SP at the beginning of COVID, it wouldn't have reached anybody because I wouldn't have been in that position, earned that trust, earned that
reputation,
social currency or whatever. And so put us in the right place. And then COVID happened and it all, yeah, I mean, everything exploded for us then.
Yeah. How does an average day look for you now?
No such thing. I mean, generally, like, it's just about what's happening in the news, what's happening in Parliament. I like it when Parliament is sitting because Parliament has a timetable and I can tell when things are going to happen. Today, when we're having this conversation, Parliament isn't sitting, and at any point, anything could happen, and it's all complete. So I just have to be online. I work here and there all day. You know, I mean, I work from home, I work on my own. I've got a team, but we live hundreds of miles apart and we chat on Messenger all day.
Wonders of the internet. You wouldn't have had
but this is it. This is it. This is the thing about working till 2070, 2075, is that when I was in the sixth form, there was no social media. There was dial-up internet. But I can't remember doing anything useful on that. Or interesting on that, except going, oh, look, it's the internet. And my mum saying, get off the phone line. I want to use the phone. And all that stuff. So if this is a career, if SP is a career, I don't know if it is, but if it is, it's not one I could possibly have planned because none of the things that allow me to do it existed. And in 2040, 2050, 2060, 2070, there's going to be all kinds of ways to work that aren't, you can't even compute at the moment.
No. What does the future look like for Simple Politics? Obviously, you're growing. I don't know how you keep the momentum going, but you do. But what does the next few years look like? Is that just based on what happens every day?
It's based on what happens every day. I mean, we can plan some things. I'm expecting an autumn general election in 2024. If things are going badly for the economy still, and I hope they aren't, of course, because it's people's lives, it will be later. It could even be January 2025, the next election. But there is an election in a couple of years' time. An election is coming, and that's on the horizon. How we've got various ideas how we do that. But I don't know. I don't have a 5-year plan. I don't have anything like that. I'd like to write another book soon. Looking for a book deal for that. We've got various ideas for doing some more media bits, trying things out, seeing what works, give it a go. Some ideas we have really take off and people love. Some ideas we have, I mean, we thought it would be nice to cheer everyone up with lots of animal pictures. So we did an SP Animals, and we thought that might be quite fun. And it didn't really work. People are much keener on sending you pictures of their animals than they are on looking at pictures of other people's animals. So we had more people emailing us pictures of their pets than we did people following the page. So it was just an idea. We thought it was fun, didn't work, binned it off.
Wow.
Some things that we did, we set up SPUS to follow American things. That's still going. That's done really well. That in itself has got 50,000 Instagram followers.
Wow.
That's a nice little separate community that's doing well. The best thing about my alternative career is that I can wake up in the morning and go, do you know what? I think it'd be fun to do this, or I'll try this. And I'll share it with the team and they can go, yeah, that's not going to work. Or, yeah, go on, yeah, let's do that. And then it can be up and running literally the next day. So there is an election coming. We'll be all over that.
What advice would you give to them? And would that be any different to the advice you would give to your younger self?
Oh, I mean, just always say yes. Just do things. Just do it. Do it. like everyone's making things up as they go along. No one has a complete idea as to anything. So don't be intimidated by other people or what other people are doing. Just do it. And then you're building those building blocks all the way through. Build as many blocks as you can. Get as many experiences as you can. And don't be too focused on the prize at the end, because the end's a long way away and you might not even want it when you get there.
And what would you say, would you have any advice to give to youngsters who are interested in politics, particularly?
Be kind. Express yourself, like change. Be focused on the change. Anything that isn't going to bring that change that you want. And let's face it, being interested in politics is about being interested in change. No one's interested in politics because they want to keep this country exactly the way it is, right? Whatever issue it is that's spurring you on into politics. Be focused on achieving that. And along the way, there will be people who disagree with you. They're not monsters. And by being horrid to them, you're not going to achieve that change. Good luck.
Thanks so much, Tatton.
Thank you, Tash.
I'll see you later.
See you later. Thanks. Bye. Bye.